Before stringing a new racket or restringing a used racket, do a thorough inspection of the racket for damage such as cracks, warpage, or damaged grommets. Do not string a racket that has signs of structural cracks or warpage, as these conditions may worsen as the frame is strung. Before restringing a racket, it is best to do this inspection in the presence of the customer. That way you can point out any problem areas directly to the customer before proceeding. To remove the strings from a used racket, start cutting the strings from the center and gradually work your way to the outside strings to minimize the stress on the racket frame. When all strings are cut, push the cut string sections outward to form loops around the outside of the frame, and then grab the loops and remove from each section. At the tie-off knots, you'll have to pull the cut sections toward the inside of the frame. When all of the strings are removed, check the frame one more time for damage that you may not have seen during your initial inspection. To determine which end of the racket to start installing the strings, check the number of grommet holes located in the throat bridge. If there are 2 or 6 holes, the main strings will start at the center 2 holes in the throat bridge. If there are 4 or 8 holes in the throat bridge, or if the racket does not have a throat bridge, the main strings will start at the center holes at the tip of the racket. The racket we are stringing has 8 holes in the throat bridge, so the main strings will start at the tip of the racket. To uncoil the string without tangling it, carefully cut the plastic zip tie, and while holding the coil of string in one hand, carefully unwind the coil one loop at a time with your other hand until the string is completely uncoiled. Measure out the length of string needed for the main strings according to racket manufacturer's stringing instructions using a yardstick or ruler. When the length of string needed for the main strings is measured, cut the string and use this portion of the string coil for the main strings. The remaining portion of the string coil will be used to string the cross strings. This should typically leave more than enough string for the cross strings. However, you can also measure the remaining portion just to confirm. Before installing the strings, check the string clamps to make sure that they will provide enough pressure to hold the string under tension without slippage. Using a scrap piece of string about 2 feet long, insert the string between the jaws of the string clamp and depress the string lever. If there is little or no compression against the string, release the string and turn the adjustment knob clockwise to increase the amount of clamp pressure. If excessive pressure is being applied and causes severe deformation or flattening of the string, turn the adjustment knob counterclockwise to reduce the clamping pressure. To check for slippage in the string clamps when tension is applied to the string, rotate the turntable so that lengthwise it is perpendicular to the tensioner and lock it into position using the turntable brake. Position one of the string clamp bases at the center of the turntable. Align it towards the tensioner and lock it down by rotating the clamp base lever clockwise until it snaps into place. Clamp one end of the string in the string clamp, and while applying tension to the string, check for string slippage in the string clamp. If slippage is observed, turn the string clamp adjustment knob clockwise to increase the clamping pressure and recheck. If no slippage or deformation is observed on the string after removing it from the string clamps are properly adjusted. Note that the string clamps may leave compression marks on certain types of strings, such as monofilament strings and natural gut strings, which is normal. Since this racket has 8 holes in the throat bridge, the main strings start at the tip of the racket. Before installing the string, cut both ends at an angle to help guide the ends of the string through the grommets. Insert the ends of the pre-cut main string portion of the string coil through the 2 center grommets at the tip of the racket and through the 2 center grommets in the throat bridge. Pull both ends of the string and center it on the racket frame. Position one of the string clamps at the tip of the racket and clamp off one of the center main strings. In this case, we are clamping off the center left main string. Since there is no back tension on the first string, a starting clamp can be used to provide additional support behind the string clamp. Insert the right main string into the string gripper and apply tension to the string by rotating the crank handle until the brake lever pops out of the latching block. Using the second string clamp, clamp off the tension string by first clamping off the string and then locking the base to the turntable. When the string is securely clamped, release tension on the string by pushing the brake lever forward and engage it back into the latch hook assembly. When releasing the tension from the tensioner, always hold the crank handle stationary while releasing the brake lever to avoid backlash. Install the second right main string. Rotate the turntable and apply tension to the second right main string. Release the center clamp on the center right main string by first unlocking the base and then releasing the string clamp. Reposition the string clamp near the tip of the racket. Clamp off the second right main string and release tension on the string. Apply tension to the center left main string. Remove the starting clamp. Release the string clamp and reposition the string clamp base to clamp off the center left main string near the throat bridge. Install the second left main string. Tension it and then clamp it off near the tip. Continue installing and tensioning the main strings alternating from left to right. As the main strings are installed, you will also need to skip certain holes that are designated for the cross strings. Refer to the manufacturer's stringing instructions for the location of cross string holes that need to be skipped. For this racket, they are the 7th and 9th hole locations at both the head and throat of the racket. When stringing new rackets or restringing rackets with new grommets, the grommets located near the shoulders of the racket may tend to pull out of their holes while tensioning the strings pulled through these grommets. This can expose the string to the sharp edge of the hole that can nick the string and result in premature string breakage. To prevent this, hold the grommet strip against the frame with your thumb while applying tension to ensure that the grommet stays seated and protects the string at the edge of these holes. To tie off the main strings, lock the turntable brake to stabilize the racket and insert the free end of the string through the main string tie-off grommet specialized in the manufacturer's stringing instructions. This will be a double-sized hole that will accommodate 2 strings. To aid insertion of the string through this hole, you may need to recut the end of the string at an angle to help guide it past the string already occupying the hole. Pliers may also be needed to provide additional support and leverage while guiding the end of the string through the tie-off grommet and pulling it through the other side. Pull the slack out of the string and tie it off to the main string at this grommet location using a double half-hitch knot. After applying the first half-hitch, pull the end snug and remove as much slack as possible by rocking the knot back and forth a few times. Complete the knot by installing the second half-hitch and pull it tight against the first half-hitch. While holding the free end taut with pliers, release the string clamp and gradually reduce the back pressure as the knot cinches up. Trim the excess string, leaving about 1/2 inch remaining from the knot. To install the cross strings, starting from the tip of the racket, insert one end of the pre-cut cross string coil into the top cross string hole and weave the cross string over and under adjacent main strings. Create a loop or slack in the string while weaving the cross string diagonally across the main strings will make the installation of the cross strings easier and reduce friction burn. After reaching the opposite side of the racket, pull enough slack to insert the free end of the string through the designated cross string tie-off grommet for tying off the main string using a starting knot. The preferred starting knot is a double loop or fisherman's knot that is made by looping the free end of the string twice around the main string to create 2 open loops, and then looping the free end of the string back around and through both loops, and carefully work the loops down the main string. While holding the free end of the string with a pair of pliers to provide back pressure to the starting knot, apply tension to the cross string while gradually reducing the back pressure against the starting knot and clamp off the first string. Trim the excess string, leaving about 1/2 inch remaining from the knot. Install the second cross string, making sure the weave is in the opposite direction to the weave of the first cross string. Before tensioning the second cross string, it is best to weave ahead by 1 cross string to make weaving the string easier and to help reduce friction burn. Continue installing the cross strings while constantly checking for misweaves. Should you find a misweave, clamp off the last cross string installed with the correct weave. Pull tension on the string, release the string clamp on the tension string, and release tension. Carefully remove the cross strings back to the last correctly installed cross and proceed. Before tying off the last cross string, perform a final check for misweaves and then insert the free end of the last cross string into the tie-off grommet specified in the racket manufacturer's stringing instructions, and tie off the cross string using a double half-hitch knot. While the racket is still in the mounting system, check and adjust the strings so the mains and crosses are straight and parallel and cross at 90 degrees to each other. Trim the excess, leaving about 1/2 inch remaining from the knot. Loosen the frame supports and mounting arms to remove the strung racket from the mounting system.